Yeah, we kind of all sort of knew it was going to be Tybura for a while. What was the sort of delay in getting it over the line? Is there anything that you can tell us about
that? Just waiting on the UFC, really. Nothing more than that. You know, they said at first that they don't know if Tybura was like a big enough deal to main event, is what they said at first. And they said they're going to explore other options. So they asked a couple more opponents. They said no. So they did the fight with me and Tybura, which I was happy to fight anybody. But I guess the other guys are unavailable or don't want the fight or whatever. I don't know the reason. So I think that was the delay originally.
I'm sure you're not in charge of this, but getting heavyweight sparring partners in, how difficult has that been? And I think saw you say yesterday that you managed to get some really good sparring in.
Not very difficult actually. Yeah. My dad is in charge of that kind of stuff, and he's done an amazing job this time. Like I'm super early in the camp, but every day I've got like between 6 and 15 heavyweights in the gym. And we're not just talking about big guys. We're talking about like big, really good level guys. Like we got another guy who's fighting in the UFC on the same event as me, making his debut, Mick Parkin. We got KSW heavyweight champion Phil de Vries, who's a former UFC fighter. Got a couple of Russian guys from Brave. Got a couple of other guys in KSW. We have a couple of guys fighting on another couple of big promotions and a load of local guys as well. Like there's just heavyweights everywhere right now, so I've got a great mix up of guys.
Do you get them to try and imitate Tybura? I know he's a little bit unorthodox, or do you just...
Yeah, we try and get them to it. Thing is, you can get a general idea of what your opponent's going to do, but you just never know. So yeah, we get guys to mix up what they're doing and try and do different things and bring... See, the thing is, I think if you stick with one sparring partner, it's difficult because you just get used to that one guy. Whereas the way that I do it is like, I'll stay in and bring different guys with different styles in for different rounds. So you have to constantly adapt to what you're doing. So yeah, we're just trying to do that. But you can never really imitate your opponent exactly. It's impossible because everybody's different. But yeah, we try and do it as much as we can.
I listened to an interview with you today, and a quote that kind of stuck out was that you felt like your spirit was a bit disturbed, kind of coming back, and that's kind of the feeling you are, and it's kind of an air of coldness a little bit until you beat up this guy. Is that how you'd kind of sum it up?
Yeah, I just feel like a bit unsettled, I think is a good word. I feel like, I feel like I don't feel myself really unless I'm on because I've been on a winning streak for so long now that's broken. I feel like I have a lot to prove to everybody, especially myself. Like I want to come back and just show it. Not even everybody. Obviously, I want to show everybody, but it's more important just to like show myself like I'm still the future UFC heavyweight champion. And I know that I'm definitely going to do that, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, I mean, we can't wait to see it. And I heard as well that you were kind of seriously considering just at one point whether you would do this sport again when you couldn't walk virtually.
Yeah.
So was that the lowest point?
Yeah, I mean that was only for a couple of days, if that. It was pretty depressing. Not being able to walk and being in a lot of pain will make you pretty miserable, and that's where I was. So yeah, it was just for a couple of days, but I really decided I absolutely love this sport. I'm so passionate about this sport. Like my whole life, for the last close to 15 years now, has been like propelled, everything going in the same line to where I am now. And even more so, like I've cut a load of stuff out that I didn't need and stuff like that because I really want to fulfill my potential of being like UFC heavyweight champion, and anything that I don't need that's not helping me do that is gone. And it's anything that tries to like get in the way of that in any aspect is gone, and it's gonna be dropped really quick if it's still around. So I'm just working my way towards that now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Should we talk about your knee, Tom, and obviously that 15 seconds in, and it must have been tough for you because the whole crowd were ready for you to get in there and sort of cap off the night with a win. But just to ask about that, you said you're quite injured for a while. There was a case of eventually this was going to have to happen, this surgery, and obviously it's unfortunate it happened in the octagon. But you feel like it's not a full reset because this was going to happen at some point?
I knew it was going to happen, but I just thought I'd just be able to do it secretly go and get surgery. And it's not great to be in like a fighting sport and be publicly injured, because I'm fully aware that when I fight Tybura, he's going to try and kick me in the knee or make me hop around on one leg, like, because that's what I do. Like, if I was aware my opponent had some injury at some point, he might, even if it was 5 years ago, you got to be like, I'm definitely going to aim for it, definitely. And he's going to do the same thing. Like, I'll do anything that I can to win. My opponents are the same. So I would have rather it happened privately, but it's just hard. And you just get like, I just kept getting offered another fight, and I'd won my last one, and I beat a good guy in my last one, and then they offer you another one, and I think, go on then, I'll just do one more. I'll just do one. And it went like that since before I was in the UFC, because I was like on the brink of getting in the UFC, and then they were like, oh, maybe if you win another one, you'll get in the UFC. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll do this one. Then when I get in the UFC, I'll get it. Then I got in the UFC, and then got my debut, won that, and then I was like, just do one more and then I'll get it. And it just kept going like that, and then obviously they offer you more money, bigger fights, then they start offering you main events. They start offering you main events in London, and you just like, it just never ends. So I think I was forced to do that. So it wasn't ideal, but it was in the past.
Just to ask about your ranking as well, you were number 6 at the time and number 5 now.
It's odd, it's very odd.
It's unusual, obviously 2 guys dropped out and 1 guy's gone above you, but do you feel like you're in the same position as well? Although actually I was going to ask, this time you're defending your ranking, and that's been different in the past. Now you're happy to, you know that'd be the case, you think, after a layoff, defend it, and then next fight, hopefully up again?
To be really honest with you, rankings don't really mean much to me. I think that like, it's just someone's opinion. And to be like brutally honest, I think that it's probably someone's opinion who's never had a fight in their life and doesn't really know much about what it is to fight as well. That's usually these kind of people who make these kind of rankings and stuff. So that really doesn't, what matters to me is being number 1 really, and being the champion. So all these numbers, they're basically just made up really. So it doesn't really, like you say, I've had a year off, technically lost my last fight, and I'm ranked higher than I was before, which is very odd. But I guess that's just the heavyweight division.
Just finally, do you feel like that's set up quite nicely for you? I mean, there's 2 guys above you now that could be heading into their last fight. It looks like Pavlovich is the only guy that's really surging. Do you feel like the landscape is looking all right for you here?
I think I'm in a really good spot. But I think that if you're in the top 10 in the heavyweight division, you're never more than like 1 or 2 impressive wins away from being in title contention anyway. It doesn't really matter as much. And the heavyweight division kind of has its own rules in my opinion. Like, if you get impressive wins, that's better than, like, that'll stand you in better stead than getting like a decision win, for example. If you hold someone on the floor for 3 rounds, or you knock someone out in 30 seconds. Like, if I'm fighting, for example, if I'm ranked number 10 and I'm fighting number 3 and I hold him on the floor for 3 rounds, it's boring. And I'm ranked number 10 and I fight number 6 and I knock number 6 out in 30 seconds violently, I think that'll put me way closer to a title shot than beating number 3 in a boring fashion. Does that make sense or not? So I think it all depends on how you win your fights as well as just winning them.
Tom, you said several times in the past that and right there that heavyweight MMA also has its own rules. But looking at your last fight in Curtis and now Marcin, would you say this is a step back, or do you not look at it that way?
I don't look at it that way at all. This guy is top 10, one of the most dangerous heavyweights in the world. So I don't think you can take anyone like that lightly. Like, if I take my eye off the ball with this guy, the referee's going to be waking me up. Simple as that. I don't want that to happen. Like, I think a lot of Tybura's wins are because like his opponents look past him, because he's not the most, I don't know how to say it without sounding rude, but he doesn't have the sexiest physique in the world, and he doesn't have like a stylish, dangerous stuff that he does. It's more just like he's a bit of a plodder, and he doesn't do like no crazy knockouts or do any flashy stuff. So I think a lot of people just think, oh, I'm just going to knock him out quick, and then he ends up winning the fight. So I'm definitely not looking past him, definitely not.
If you were in his shoes, what would you do to beat you?
I would try and push me up against the fence, try and tire me out, and try and use his experience to overcome what he thinks is going to be an early attack, and maybe try and finish me late in the fight, I think.
I know you said you've got like a lot of mutual friends with him. Have you ever trained with him in the past, or like been in sort of the same gym as him? And if not,
No.
do you sort of, because you've got the mutual friends, is he a guy that's always been in your radar and think he goes underrated a bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, he's been on my radar. Well, I know everybody in the heavyweight division, like it's my division, so I know all the good guys at least. And I think mainly he came on my radar because when I fought Volkov, it's when all the like Russia stuff started off, and then people were like cancelling Russian athletes from competing like in different sports all over the world, and they brought Tybura as like a backup just in case Volkov couldn't make the fight. And I know Tybura came, he got paid, and throughout the week I was always like, which one am I going to fight? Because the closer the fight was getting, the more risky it was, like if the fight was going to be on or not, because like media started getting wind that a Russian was going to headline an event, and then it was like, is it going to get cancelled or is it going to stay on? So the fight ended up staying on, but the whole week I was thinking like, is it going to be Tybura or is it going to be Volkov? And Tybura ended up getting paid, and he said in some interviews after that he would have liked the fight. So I feel like we've got a bit of unfinished business there, and I want to settle the score in July.
I know you said you don't really care about the rankings, but the number one spot has changed since your last fight in Ngannou. He's now gone over to PFL.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that move?
I've not looked at it in detail, to be honest. I think that a lot of the time I'm so overwhelmed with MMA. Like I do MMA all day. When I train and sleep, that's basically all I do. And then when I'm in my free time, I don't like to look on MMA sites or watch interviews and stuff. If I can, like sometimes obviously it'll pop up and I'll watch something, but I don't know all the details on it, but I know he was looking for more money, and I know was he looking for like a stake in a company as well?
Yeah.
If he's got that and he's happy, like fair play to him. He's doing what he wants to do.
And another story, I know maybe you have seen it, have not. All this Tyson Fury, John Jones stuff, are you sort of with the same narrative if it happens in a cage?
Yeah, I mean, I've been asked about that a lot recently, actually. It's just talking, isn't it? Like, it's never going to happen, but I think it's for any like combat athlete fan or anyone who's involved with it, it's pretty obvious that if they fight in a cage, John Jones is going to win. If they fight in a boxing ring, Tyson Fury is going to win. It's simple as that. There's nothing to it. It's kind of boring. I don't know. I'm not really interested in that kind of stuff.
Cheers.
Just 2 minutes, guys.
Do you want more each?
Yeah,
sure.
Say you come through this one unscathed, when are you looking to get back in, and is there anyone you have particularly in mind?
As soon as possible, mate. I want to fight at least twice this year, at least. And anybody, mate, I'm not fussed. We're talking about the top 10 most dangerous people in the world. They're all dangerous, so any of them. I'm good with any of them. I don't favour one over the other. I think everyone's dangerous, and I don't think everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses. I don't look at anybody and think that's an easy fight for me or that's a difficult fight. I think they all bring different challenges.
So do you not look at it as that fight's more likely to bring me a title shot than maybe another one?
I mean, ideally I'd like to fight someone ranked above me, but like I said before, it's not always about rankings. If you're steamrolling people and looking great, that can stand you in better stead than fighting someone ranked higher than you.
It's a bit unrelated, but our readers want to know, what's your favourite tattoo? Do they have any meaning?
Oh, my favourite tattoo? Oh, that's a good question actually. I've got a lot of bad ones. I've got a lot of really bad ones. I'm actually in the process of redoing all my tattoos. So this sleeve's being covered. I'm going to leave this snake because I actually like that. That's going, and I've nearly finished my back. I've got 50 hours on my back, so I've got about 2 hours left, and then I'll be done. So I think my back's probably my favourite right now.
So that's in the process of being done?
Yeah, I'm like 2 hours away from it being done.
What, can you give us a gist? So
I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you. It's a food dog. Do you know what that is? It's like a Chinese food dog, and it's like a protector of the family kind of thing. So I wanted that. I like it. I put fucking a lot of time into it. So
thank you.
But yeah, just one quick one each there.
I wanted to ask about these fight nights keep coming thick and fast. Do you ever watch a pay-per-view card and think, you know...
I'd like to fight on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to fight on a pay-per-view.
And in America, yeah.
I'll fight anywhere.
Wait for Leon's next
I'll
one,
fight.
maybe.
Yeah, I'll fight anywhere. I'm not too bothered. Yeah, I'd like to. Ideally, I'd like to do it without a massive time difference. Because when you go to the West Coast, it does affect you. And I fought there twice. Fought in Vegas twice. So it's. I mean, it's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine if I do. But ideally, somewhere close to the same time zone, because it just messes up your training a little bit. But I'll fight anywhere. I'm not too bothered. But a pay-per-view would be nice, definitely.
We don't usually hear it in English, but any chance some Polish draft up with Marcin or not?
Oczywiście. Okay. Yeah, you want me to do it to you? Mr. Marcin jest bardzo dobry przeciwnik i on ma duże doświadczenia i on ma, jak powiedzieć, fight IQ, znajomość w MMA, tak? Wysoko znajomość w MMA, tak? Dużo, tak? Ale teraz czuję się, mój kolano jest zdrowy i jestem podekscytowany i nie mogę się doczekać na walki.